The champagne flute trembled in my hand, its golden bubbles catching the chandelier's gleam like tiny lies sparkling in the light. I stood at the edge of our anniversary party, the room alive with laughter and clinking glasses, but my chest felt hollow, as if someone had carved out my heart and left it bleeding on the hardwood floor. 18 years with Laura, and tonight her smile, directed at him across the room, cut deeper than any knife. I watched her tilt her head, her auburn curls brushing her bare shoulder, as she laughed at something Mark said. His hand lingered on her arm, just a second too long. My stomach churned, not with jealousy, but with the sickening weight of suspicion that had been growing for months. I forced a smile, raising my glass to a passing guest, but my eyes stayed locked on them. The signs had been there, hadn't they? Late nights at the office, her phone screen always tilted away. The sudden perfume she'd started wearing, sharp like betrayal. I'd dismissed it all, telling myself I was paranoid, that love blinded me to reason. But now, as Mark's fingers grazed her wrist again, I couldn't unsee it. My throat tightened, and I took a sip of champagne to steady myself. It tasted bitter, or maybe that was just my heart. "James, you okay?" Laura's voice snapped me back. She stood beside me now, her green eyes searching mine, her smile a mask I no longer trusted. Her hand rested on my arm, warm but foreign, like it belonged to someone else. "Fine," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "Just taking it all in. 18 years, huh?" Her laugh was soft, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Feels like forever, doesn't it?" She raised her glass, the one she'd poured for me earlier, insisting I try her special mix. The liquid inside shimmered, and a prickle of unease crawled up my spine. Something was off, her insistence, the way she watched me now waiting. "To us," she said, clinking her glass against mine. Her gaze held mine, expectant, almost challenging. I hesitated, the weight of her stare pressing against my chest. The room spun slightly, the chatter fading into a dull hum. I glanced at Mark, now leaning against the bar, his eyes flickering toward us. My pulse quickened. "To us," I echoed, but I didn't drink. Instead, I set my glass on the table beside me, my fingers brushing hers as I reached for her flute. "Let's swap," I said, my tone light but my heart pounding. "Yours looks better." Her smile faltered, just for a fraction of a second, but it was enough. A crack in her facade, a flicker of panic. "Oh no, mine's nothing special," she said, her voice too quick. She reached for her glass, but I'd already lifted it to my lips. "Cheers," I said and drank deeply. Her eyes widened, her breath catching, and in that moment I knew. The champagne burned going down, not with alcohol but with something else, something wrong. My vision blurred at the edges, and a cold sweat broke across my skin. She'd done it. She'd spiked my drink. "James." Her voice was sharp now, laced with fear. She grabbed my arm, her nails digging into my skin. "Are you okay?" I stumbled back, the room tilting, but my mind was razor sharp. I hadn't drunk from my glass. I'd swapped them. Whatever she'd put in my drink was now coursing through her. The realization hit me like a freight train, and I gripped the table to steady myself, not from dizziness but from the weight of what I'd just done. "Laura," I said, my voice low, trembling with rage and heartbreak. "What did you do?" Her face drained of color, her lips parting as if to speak, but no words came. The party continued around us, oblivious, the jazz band's notes floating like a cruel mockery of our unraveling. I leaned closer, my voice a whisper. "What was in my glass?" She shook her head, tears welling in her eyes. "James, I didn't. Don't lie to me." My voice cracked, louder than I intended, and a few heads turned. I lowered it, stepping closer, my breath hot against her cheek. "You've been lying for months. With him." I jerked my head toward Mark, who was watching now, his posture stiff. Laura's hands flew to her mouth, her eyes darting to the glass I held. Her glass. "No, James, you don't understand." "Then explain it," I hissed. My heart pounded, torn between love and betrayal, between the woman I'd vowed to cherish and the stranger standing before me. "Explain why you've been sneaking around, why you flinch when I touch you, why you thought you could poison me on our anniversary." Her knees buckled, and she sank into a chair, her hands trembling. The room seemed to close in, the air thick with the scent of roses and deceit. I wasn't. I didn't mean. Her words faltered, and she clutched her stomach, her face twisting in pain. Whatever she'd put in the drink was working fast. I knelt beside her, my anger warring with panic. What was it, Laura? Tell me now. My voice broke, and I hated how much I still cared, how much it hurt to see her in pain, even now. It was just a sedative, she gasped, tears streaming down her face. To make you sleep. So I could leave. With him. Her eyes flicked to Mark, and the confession hit me like a physical blow. My chest tightened, my breath shallow, as the truth I dreaded became real. Leave. I whispered, my voice raw. After everything? After 18 years. I'm sorry, she sobbed, her body shaking. I didn't want to hurt you. I don't love you anymore. The words shattered me, each syllable a shard of glass in my heart. I stood, my legs unsteady, and looked at her, really looked. The woman I'd built a life with, the one I'd laughed with, fought with, loved with every fiber of my being, was gone. In her place was someone I didn't recognize. Someone who'd planned to drug me and slip away with another man. Mark approached, his face pale, his hands raised as if to calm me. James, let's talk. Stay away. I growled, my fists clenching. The room spun. Not from any drug but from the weight of betrayal. I turned back to Laura, who was clutching the table, her breath shallow. The sedative was strong, too strong, and a new fear gripped me. What if it wasn't just a sedative? What if she'd miscalculated? I grabbed my phone, my fingers shaking as I dialed 911. My wife, she's been poisoned, I said, my voice hollow. I didn't mention I'd swapped the glasses. I couldn't. Not yet. As the paramedics arrived, the party dissolved into chaos, guests whispering, staring. Laura was whisked away, her eyes locked on mine, pleading, but I felt nothing. No, that was a lie. I felt everything, rage, grief, love, guilt, all tangled together, choking me. Later, at the hospital, I sat alone in the waiting room, the sterile scent of antiseptic burning my nose. Laura would survive, they said. A mild sedative, not lethal, but enough to knock her out. I stared at my hands, the hands that had swapped the glasses, and wondered who I'd become. I'd wanted her to feel the betrayal, to face the consequences of her lies. But now, as the adrenaline faded, I was left with the wreckage of our marriage and the chilling truth. I'd crossed a line I could never uncross. The doctor emerged, his expression grim. She's asking for you, he said. I stood, my heart heavy, knowing this moment would define us forever. As I walked toward her room, I realized the real revenge wasn't in the swap. It was in letting her live with the truth of what she'd done, and what I'd become because of it.